Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lucie's Inspiring Stories. I'm Lucie Rosa-Stagi, and today we are exploring a question that touches really everybody of each one of us at some point in our lives. And that question is, what happens when life takes an unexpected turn and invites us to become who we were truly meant to be? My guest today, Satie Narain-Simon, has lived that journey in a remarkable way. After more than 30 years working as Senior Government Tax Auditor, that's a big job, with the Canadian federal government, Satie followed a deeper calling, one that led to becoming a best-selling author, a cancer survivor, global peace ambassador, wellness retreat leader, and an advocate for self-love and inner peace. Her book, The Crooked Path is Perfect. I love that. The Crooked Path is Perfect. It beautifully captures the idea that life's detours often lead to exactly where we need to be. I'm especially really, it warms my heart to welcome Satie today because we also share a creative collaboration. We are both co-authors of a book, stories a book about resiliency and human connection. So without any further ado, Satie, welcome to Lucie's Inspiring Stories. How are you?
I am doing so well, Lucy, and thank you so much for having me on your show. And it is really special. Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Thank you. I'm
much.
so delighted to have you with us here today, for sure.
Thank
So, I mean, a tax auditor for the for the government, that is a big job. How did you land that job? I'm curious.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I started my career in the banking industry of Toronto,
Hmm.
and I love the banking industry. But then I remember in the 90s, there were things happening economically and politically, and the banks were going to all merge. And
Still
then I
going on
thought,
today.
like, right, it's still going on today. But you know what? I've always had my eyes on the federal government in Canada, because to me, when I came to Canada, and was aware of the job market after university,
Mhm.
etc. Working for the federal government was like it was like the best, and working for this Canada Revenue Agency
Can
like
you
the
imagine?
best. It was really difficult to get in,
Right.
and those days, and to me that was the propelling. It's really difficult to get in. Then I'm going to get in.
How cool is that?
And yes,
So I
that's
know that you spent more than 3 decades working with the world of government auditing, right? I mean, that was a big, huge job. But then there came a moment in your life, a defining moment in your life that changed, that kind of helped you change direction, right? Can you
right.
talk about that special moment or that defining moment that happened to you?
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? Actually, I worked with the government not over 3 decades, close to 3 decades, 25 years.
25 years, okay.
Right. But that it was always, when I was younger, I always wanted to be, dream about using my voice and being in a public life.
Mm-hmm.
And auditing was kind of like that because I was out with clients, like, well, large corporation clients, etc. And a defining moment was when I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm.
And it was literally a week before my wedding.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't get that diagnosis, but I found the lump a week before my wedding. And I was married to this Californian love, and we had all these dreams of coming to California and live there. I've always loved California, but after the wedding, right after the wedding, after during the honeymoon stage, I found out I had this breast cancer, and it was definitely a defining moment. There is a story there. There
Mm-hmm.
is a story there because it sounded, of course, really horrible, and it really was. It really breaks you, mind, body, and spirit. But at the
Yeah.
same time, there was something very lighted that was happening to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. So, at that point, was it the decision that you made with your husband that that's it, that you had to get out of the corporate world? It was just too much?
Oh no, actually I was diagnosed decades ago, 20, 21 years ago,
Okay.
of the breast cancer, and I had to go through the treatments, the chemo, radiation, surgery. However, the going on to the defining in this crooked path, it
Yeah.
was always so, it seems so crooked, like why this, why that? At the same time of all of this happening, my family was so shocked because there was no history. I was black stripe in Taekwondo, preparing for my black belt.
Oh my
So I was
God.
in good shape, and
Yeah.
ate well, drank my vitamins, all these type of things. But however, my brother, when this happened, the family was shocked. And my brother went into a mode of research and of alternative healing modalities.
Mm-hmm.
And that I trekked to a remote area of Brazil right after treatments. And when I went there, I realized like, oh my goodness, this is what it was all about. Like all of this happened for me to be there. Like I knew my path, but it just got not sidetracked, with politics, culture,
Right.
environment, career, and this crooked path led me to this spot, and I found my purpose, or reignited my purpose.
Wow. So yeah, it goes to show you that life happens for us, not to us. Isn't
Oh
that
yes,
true? Yeah.
definitely. That is so true. Famous Tony Robbins
Famous
saying.
Tony's Robin. And I think about that all the time. I remember the first time I heard that from him, I went, oh, I don't know if I believe that, but I'll tell you, ever since I heard that, it is so true that life happens for us and not to us. It's such a true statement. So many people feel trapped in careers, and they stay there for decades. What helped you find the courage to step into, the completely different path? I know that you mentioned that you went to Brazil, for a different modality to help you overcome your cancer. Were you cured of cancer by then, going to Brazil?
Yeah. Yes, in my heart, and I felt that with the modalities, the science, and the medical treatments of Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and my spiritual journey of Brazil, mind, body, and spirit together, that I was cured. So definitely, absolutely, 1,000,000%. And what your question, getting back to your question, is that I was one of those people that, that generation, going to school, getting on with a career.
Yeah.
It was COVID that actually triggered those dreams again, those childhood
Okay.
dreams again, because it was the first time that we were locked down in Canada. So we couldn't go out on the audits. We were working from home, and we had this extra time because we're not preparing to get to work, getting dressed, traveling,
Right.
etc. So I self-medicated on self-education and found Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And it just triggered these memories again, like, wow, what is my purpose? What am I
Yeah.
doing? And so I planned my departure. Um, I planned my departure from my corporate career, but it took a couple of years because I planned it out well that I was going to quit my job.
Right.
I mean, I could still stay on there right now. I loved my job. It was wonderful, well liked. And I also did a lot of union work for the federal government, and I really loved that. So that's what triggered it. It was COVID. It was
It
a
was
blessing in
COVID.
disguise. Yes,
Interesting. And,
yes,
and you're not the only one. It happened to so many people. It was like, oh, this is a different way of living. I can do this. Oh, and so why don't I do something I really love? You know?
yes, because they just thought, you know what, like I'm at this age now, and my purpose and all the things that I was thinking about when I was a kid and as a teenager and early 20s, and when would I accomplish it? And part of that, I wanted to have control of my time
Uh-huh.
and doing the things that supposedly my passion project. And I go, wait a minute, my passion project could be my livelihood.
Right.
So that's so thanks. So yes, thank you, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi and COVID environment that I actually used that time for self-education and re-awareness of
Right.
those dreams that I've had.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I love the fact that you say that it all starts within and works without. I mean, the change, the transformation starts within, and then the outer transformation happens, right? I mean, you talk about self-love as a leadership quality. Why do you believe that inner peace and self-compassion are essential for effective leadership?
Well, of course, because it is really effective. Well, first of all, it starts with us, the inner
Hmm.
self. And we're leaders in our home. And when we love ourselves, because I was saying, I went on this journey before cancer diagnosis of falling in love with myself, with the I within. And if I
Yeah.
didn't have that felt that inner strength of confidence and self-esteem and strength and loved by a greater force, I
Hmm.
would not have been able to deal with that diagnosis. Of course, it needed to be retweaked because you get broken down.
Right.
And so when a person truly loves themselves within, whether it's a male or female, we take that out in the outer world. We make better decisions. We're in the corporate world. We have empathy. We have compassion. We could also make great decisions, not say ruled from the heart, but I mean, you're equipped to make better decisions. And
Right.
it affects the bottom line. It does, it affect the bottom line. In healthcare industry, if you're happier and you're happy being, it affects the healthcare too. Maybe our Canadian government less money on the budget for healthcare. I'm so passionate. I think the answer for all is loving within. And
Loving.
what I know now, had I known in my teens and my 20s, even my early 30s, it was something I would tell my younger version.
Wow. That's really, I mean, it seems so simple, but it's so powerful.
It
That
really,
whole statement, you know, love within, if that's where the power really does begin. Life can feel so overwhelming sometimes that if for so many people, do you have any practical tools that someone can use to help them, work through the emotional resilience in those challenging times?
oh yes, absolutely. That's why the book that I wrote, The Crooked Path, is perfect.
Hmm.
I love my book. The book cover is personal and it's life stories. However, what's in it for you? It's the tools that I use to access self-love. And I truly believe like we need to have something with persistence and determination,
Hmm.
practice,
Right,
progress over perfection. So
right.
there are various tools. There's the mirror technique, there's the gratitude. Oh my goodness, the gratitude
Gratitude is so important. Yes. Hmm.
so important. There's whatever connects with you and speaks within. It could be walking along the shores and looking at the waves. For me, the spiritual umbrella is yoga and meditation and prayers because that puts me into that mode of connection. So there are other tools or other things that what speaks to you, stick with it.
Hmm. Right. And yeah, I know that so I'm glad to hear that you're into the yoga and meditation because when I read about you that you were into martial arts, you know, I mean, for years, you got your black belt, didn't you, or something?
I got my black stripe and actually was preparing for my black belt just before the diagnosis.
Uh-huh.
And martial arts, it is a form of yoga and meditation for children. I think that's how it's like, that's what the little kids do. And it's a mental awareness. It's 90% mental and 10% physical. It
Ah.
really is. It really is. I'm really glad for the years that I've done martial arts and my mentors, my teachers, and I'll take it for the rest of my life. Yes. And especially in now environment, I would say girls, females. do martial arts.
Really? Because we always think that it's a man's kind of world thing to do, martial arts. And I always think, I don't know. What comes into my mind is the masculine there. So,
Well, that,
and
exactly. That's why I started it. That's why I took it.
yeah, but then, like you say, 90% of it is what awareness,
It
and
is
the other 10% is the actual, tools that you
difficult.
need to implement what you're learning. It is
Yes,
so it's amazing. Actually, it's all about discipline, isn't it? It's about discipline and
about
consistency,
exactly.
really.
And I remember like in those days, I volunteered a lot to the martial arts club. I did everything you could think about from the books to cleaning the toilets for the kids, having the kids beat me up because I could see like the little girls or little boys that are very timid. And then as they go through, like you could hear that when that voice, and the strength. So I think it's a great sport
Hmm.
and a wonderful way of for children. I for me, I'd go for girls and females, other females.
Wonderful.
It's absolutely yes.
Well, let's talk about your work with Film for Peace, because here you're promoting peace and compassion worldwide, aren't you? So, what does peace leadership mean to you, or how does that look like in your everyday life?
Well, peace leadership for me, it's all like within because like
Yeah.
that we have that love within. We go out into the world. It's and a ripple effect in the world where compassion and love into nature and to the animals, to other human,
Hmm.
random acts of kindness. And this is a volunteer work with the Film for Peace, where I am the VP there, and it's International Film for Peace that I do in Toronto. It's every September 21st that this waterfront magazine that I do work for, that I'm on the board with, one of the arm is the Peace Festival. And under the Peace Festival is what promotes peace. And so promoting peace, we could what modes we can promote peace through films, through music, through art,
Through
uh,
walks like the monks
so
did.
exactly,
Yeah.
So and I really love the film piece because in the analytical world of accounting and taxes, I didn't think I have a creative bone in me, and now I know well quite a bit more about the films because I'm a judge on
Hmm.
the films for peace. I love it, and seeing wow a person can really put together a documentary 15, 20, 30 over an
Wow.
hour piece of film from another part of the world and how they're viewing their contribution towards peace. And so many, it's a ripple effect because you look at
Right.
it and it's right in a message, important messages.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, for somebody who's never, practiced mindfulness before, because there are those people, I know of a lady who's 89 years old who told me that she doesn't do anything spiritual. And, I don't believe it. I don't think that she believes it, that she knows it. But for those who never kind of practice mindfulness, what's the simplest way for them to begin reconnecting with themselves? Because, it's so important to do that.
Oh, just really simple because in Toronto, I know I'm in Las Vegas right now, but in Toronto, where I live most of the year, is I love the water. And that's a simple thing. It's
Mm.
nature, something that you like. For me, when I walk early morning and I'm walking along the boardwalk of the harbor front in Toronto, it just puts me into mindfulness. We might not say that those words, but it's however that we feel that we're connected to a greater source
Right.
and from within, that silence within, that divinity within. So that person, the friend that's 89 years, she could be loving nature walk. She probably loves the trees,
And
the
she plays
music.
she plays no, not that so much, but she does play tennis and pickleball, but I guess that's the
Yes, I feel that there's music.
Yeah.
Sitting in silence, sitting in silence,
Journaling, I think she does that.
journaling.
See, I think she doesn't even realize that.
I, Journaling is amazing. Just journaling, grateful late,
Yeah.
a couple of things you're grateful for each day. That there's simple things, and there's contemplative walking. Walking is awesome. I love to walk and just walking in stillness. It does
Not
really
walking with your phone.
not walking with my phone. Yeah, no,
Which I see
no.
so many people do, and it's a little disturbing. I see, especially when I see them walking with their dog, and they're on their phone, and the dog.
Oh,
I keep thinking that's the dog's time. Why don't you get off the phone and just let your dog smell everything he or she wants to smell because he just wants to do that. And, there's a war going on constantly with these people. I watch them walk down the street. It's unbelievable. And it's all part of, not being mindful, really,
exactly.
you know?
I so agree with you because I know when I walk with my dog in the morning, like, I mean, if I am listening to my phone, it's going to be, I love Wayne Dyer
Yeah, oh, yeah, I
or
do too.
a
Yeah.
podcast, something of a podcast, but not taking my time away from my little dog because she does not like it, even my previous dog, because that really is their time and stopping and smelling because that's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's how they're connected to their friends and their smell and their sixth sense, you know? So
Exactly.
I so agree with you, absolutely. And I feel sorry for the doggies too when I see other owners on their phone and bumping into each other. And you can see, and they do say, I've heard it somewhere in the news or something, one time where the dogs do get depressed. They get depressed because that is their time.
I see it. I see it in the dogs, because
Yeah,
dogs, when they're happy, their tails are wagging.
yeah.
When they're doing what they want to do, the tail, and it's so obvious. Dogs talk to you, they let you know. Anyway, that's for another session. Really, we're talking about really the reinvention later in life, which is so much of what I do. I do believe that at any age you can reinvent yourself. So, I'm just thinking of that. Many people watching our show are really kind of, a lot of people are exploring new chapters later in life. So, what would you say to someone who feels it may be too late to follow their deepest purpose? I mean, there are people who feel that way.
Oh, I am such a believer that it's never too late. I'm one of
Mhm.
those people that, I'm from that generation because it's different from the younger generation where they just go after anything. They want to
Right.
be a yoga teacher. They're gone off. They're not bothering about rent and this or that. It was different from my time and my generation. And one thing I know, it's never, ever, ever too late. I do remember Betty White. I really liked her a lot. And when she was 88 years old, I remember she got all the awards and everything she wanted. And something she said one time, she could be laying in bed and pick up the phone and she wants to act in a movie with John Travolta, and it just happens. And then if we do believe, like, well, not do believe, I do believe that there is something greater than us, and there is some as a spiritual force out there, and our timing may not be the timing that's the greater force timing,
Right.
but it does happen. It's never ever too late.
It's never too late. Age is just just a number. I want to say something about your book. The Crooked Path is perfect. Now that can be had on Amazon, right? So anybody
Oh,
can go to Amazon and type in The Crooked Path is perfect, and they can buy your book there, right?
yes, and it's at Barnes and Nobles and
Barnes and Noble. Okay.
iPhone, yes, Apple.
Okay, so if they wanted to contact you and find out, because you do retreats too, which is something I'd love to have you back so we could talk about your retreats and why you do them in Colombia and all that. And I'd love to. That would be a second chapter to this. Uh,
Yes.
where can people contact you? What's the easiest way for people to contact you?
Okay, so the easiest way, like, is on LinkedIn. Is
Okay,
that I have
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn? I'm on Instagram, and it's the name that Satie, Satie, and Narain. Simon. But I think once you put the Satie and the Narain, it pops
It
up.
comes, it pops up
It
because there
pops
aren't too many
up.
of you.
Right, there's not too many. And I'm on also I have Facebook. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and I
Yeah,
have a website. It's all about love. ITS,
ITS.
all about love.ca.
Okay. Well, I'm going to when I put the recordings together, and you're going to be featured as our guest tomorrow, and it will have all of your contacts. So I'll make sure that that's all there. So,
Okay.
Sadie, I really want to thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your journey with us today, because your story reminds us that sometimes the path we plan is not the one that ultimately fills us, but it's the twists and the turns along the way that can lead us to exactly where we need to be. I love that message. And folks, get that book because I think it's going to be very inspirational. So thank you for the conversation today, Sadie. And thank you, my friends, for being here for another wonderful episode of Lucy's Inspiring Stories. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
Lucy, for having me. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.